Hello everyone, it's Bobby from Dig Coding here, and this is the 19th video in the building and launching a real Django website series. So this is technically part 3 of the breaking down a HTML template that we've purchased online. But we're going to focus this tutorial into breaking up those HTML files that we've now created into partials. And then we use a template tag called include to add them to the HTML template. So this is, in previous tutorials we've looked at blocks and extends. Now we're going to look at include, and this is very, very helpful when trying to read a HTML document and look at different sections. It's just worth its weight in gold. So let's look at my screen. So we've got the directory open on my screen here already. I haven't got a CMD open, so just click in the little navigator here and you just type CMD. It saves all that messing around or CDing into the directory. It's opened on the other screen as per normal. Right, okay, so we're already in the right directory. So now we need to fire up our virtual environment. So work on, this is did demo, and Python manage.py run server, and that takes us, oh, I always missed that A, sorry, let's get that in there. Yep, there we go. So we can now visit this website again using local host. So open a browser, let's go drag it across, and incognito, Control Shift N, and then just go localhost. That should come up with our ugly little website that we built. Happy days. There we go. Right, so where we got to in the last one, well, last video, link to it is up there. We created an index, an about, a media, and a contact page, although they all look identical because we based it all from one HTML document and just saved and saved and saved and saved. So now we're going to break it down into parts and partials. So if we go back into our Sublime Text, go into main, go into templates, and go into main, we will add a directory a new directory into the main directory called partials. So main, template, main, new, call this partials. There we have it, and we will go straight into the index page. We'll start messing around with other bits in a little while. So if you remember, this extends base HTML, so all of the header, all of the JS, the scripts, the fonts, all of that jazz is all in base HTML. This just extends it. And not only that, everything in this block template tag is injected into the block template tag called content in the base HTML. That's how it works. We're loading static so we can access the static directory within a HTML document, and then we go through this. So what we want to do, we want to start opening up these elements, just working out what's what, okay? Most templates you buy online are very well documented, and they've got all of these sort of commented out parts here that tell you exactly what they do. Don't ignore them, read them through, because you could end up wasting a lot of time trying to work it out for yourself. So this is telling me that this starts hero area wrapper. So this has got a hero header. If you don't know what that is, it's, open up the browser, it's this bit here. It's what you're looking at. So it's all this sort of scrolling jazz that we've got on our index page. It actually happens on all of the pages at the minute, but we'll change that. But that's the hero wrapper. So that's everything within here. Back to the HTML. So it's probably got 3 sections for, there we've got a swiper slide. Minimize that. We've got another swiper slide. And is that it? Next preview, what we do. Yeah, slide wrapper, slide container. So how many have we got on there? So we've got Camille Design Agency, growth your business, Camille Design. Looks like we've only got 2. So we're looking for that. They're the 2 swiper slides. Within those we'll have a couple of images. There we go. So data bg image equals, remember we control H and replaced all where it said assets to static, so we remapped it. So we're now looking in our statics directory for assets image slider creative agency. So static assets image slider and then we're looking for Creative Agency 01. This one here. There we go. That's the image that we're pulling in to, and it's being rendered onto the HTML document. Nothing pretty, right? It's just telling us the dimensions of that image. Okay, but that's the JPEG. So we can close that. No, we don't need that now. Let's go back into the HTML index. There we go. So that is that image there. This is the text. So we put a few gobbledygooks there and save it, and then refresh our browser. That should then change what's, there we go. That's how it works. You quite literally find the sections in the HTML document and you can amend them on the fly. So we're not going to use that slider on any other of the HTML documents. So it seems a thankless task saving it as a partial and then using the include tag, because we're only going to use it once. It's the idea of coding, in my eyes, is to get the same outcome with less code. What I mean by that is you want to get the perfect outcome with writing as few lines of code as possible. What we'd be doing is we'd be adding a block tag, we'd be copying and pasting that to another document and saving it in another directory, and blah, blah, blah. That just seems a pointless task. But the other sections, there will be sections in here, in this template, that we will want to recycle and use in other HTML templates. And the way we'll identify them, I'll just minimize them quickly. That's what I'm doing, just minimizing them. And each of them have got their own commented out names. We go back into the browser and scroll down. The next section will be this one. So it's the what we do. So it's got all these little elements here with some JavaScript and CSS to make them look very good. Some text. We've got another section here which would be just a quote. See, we want to recycle that. I'd want that on my About Us page as well. We've also got latest works. I'd want that on my About Us page. What else? I wouldn't necessarily need this. This could maybe sit on the home page only, so we won't do anything with that. We've then got a video. We'll keep that on the home page. Latest works, and then we've got a contact us form here. We might not even want that on the home page. We can remove that completely. So that's what we'll do. We'll now go through the index page and we'll start dissecting it down, just so that you can understand what I'm doing. I won't spend too long doing this, because once you understand what I'm doing, you can then replicate this on your own project, because you've downloaded a different template to me. So you might not even have all of these sections. So I'm going to add the include template tag, create a few partials, and that'll be more or less it for this tutorial. And then I'll plow through and I'll get the rest done without being filmed, because you'll be ending up watching hours of tutorials for, or certainly sort of 10, 20, 30 minutes of tutorials for the sake of just watching me do the same thing over and over and over again. So let's have a look. So we looked at, sorry, my memory is terrible today. So we want to keep the header, sorry, the hero section. The next section down, that'll be something that we just keep in the home page. We won't touch that. The next one down, I want to recycle that, and I also want to recycle latest works. So we go into HTML, we want to keep this home slider, that's the hero section. We also wanted to keep the second one, but this one here is the one that we want to include, and we want to pull from main, partials, and we will call this testimonial quote HTML. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. So we want to pick that up. You don't need to close off the include template tag. That is all you need, just that one line there. So we just cut the element that we are now including. So we now need to create that file. So new file, and we will load static. Don't forget to do this, because you do need it for each HTML file. It won't go from the base. It is relative to the actual file that you're in. So load static, and straight underneath that, we just paste what we've just picked up. The reason it looks ugly is because it doesn't know it's a HTML document yet. So save as, we want to save that in partials, and we want to save this as testimonial quote, I think I called it, .html. There we go. And then it knows it's a HTML document and it adds the necessary style. And we'll Control A and bring it back so it just looks a bit of OCD there. And that's that, I believe. Static, static. Yeah, and we'll save that. I'll just make sure testimonial quote. I'll just make sure I've called that the right one. So rename. Yeah, that's right. Happy days, right. So now index, although you haven't got a section in there, you have got an include. And then what you can just do is you can add a comment. So you can comment this out. So we can say, this is a testimonial element that can be used in all HTML files. And then control slash, I think it is, there you go, control slash, and then that will comment it out. I now know that this include is an element that's in partials, so I don't have to read 200 lines of HTML code. I can now look at that and go, right, okay, and that code can be used and recycled in other forms. So in the About Us page, I can add that here if I wanted to. Include, and this is main slash partials slash .html. And that's all I'd need to do. Now if I go into the About page, that should start showing through, which I'll demonstrate in a second. So that's the index page so far. I then said I wanted a portfolio to be included also, so let's not waste time typing. And we'll just paste, this is portfolio. And we'll just call it portfolio.html. And then we'll take this and we'll cut it, we'll save, we'll open up a new file, we will load static, and we'll save that as, in partials as folio.html. Control A, and we just budge that stuff back a little bit. There we go. And save. Go back in the index, and that is it. All we need to do now is change. So this is portfolio element. So yeah. Okay, so I have just removed a couple of sections from a HTML document, saved it into another doc, and I'm including that section via the template tag called include. So now what we'll do is let's open up the templates that we've purchased and have a look at some of the other examples, and then just start deciding on what sections that we want on each page. So if I go into happy days, right, so this is the did demo file. Remember, I've got fancy HTML directory. That's the one we've purchased. We're going to Camille. And these are all of the different HTML variations that I've purchased. And we want an About Us page. So let's just scroll through this and see what we've got. About me, About Us. So we've got an About Us 1. Okay, so we've got a different sort of header. Hang on, let's open up all of them. So I've got an About Us 2. And I've got an About Us 3. So About Us 1. So obviously the images, I can put whatever image I want in there, not a problem at all. And we've got a few little links here to, this is the mapping of where we are. So it's from home to About Us. So we'd change that if we wanted it. It's got some nice little sections here. So if you, if I refresh the page and then scroll down, you can see that JavaScript or CSS is almost added some animation to this element, which looks lovely. Got latest work, so we pulled out the section portfolio in the home page. Well, I might decide that this is the section that I prefer over the one that I've just added to partials, and in which case I would add this as portfolio and use this in the home page and the About Us page. This is the next section, what clients say. So this is a different variation on testimonials. So it's taken an image from each testimonial. This would mean that we would have to save testimonials into the database. So as testimonials are added, then they would appear, and you can then activate and deactivate them as necessary. You can have an API that pulls testimonials straight from someone like Facebook, for instance. And we've got little links, we click that and we just keep on scrolling. What have we got here? Let's talk. That looks like a contact us form, which is great. We might want to use that on a home screen instead of this one. And then we've got a footer. We'll come onto the footer later. It's very important that we get that right. So this is the About Us page 1. We've then got About Us 2. Again, just all these different elements. So the beauty of buying a template with so many different files is that you can literally cherry pick whatever you want from whichever file and just inject it into the one that you're working with. So I like this, 23,000 satisfied clients. I could have, I don't know, 1,000 views on my videos on YouTube, and I can have an API to take that information straight from YouTube, for instance, and that could be a rolling number, so I can keep going, use a JavaScript function to keep doing an API call and keep retrieving that number over and over. Or we can use a webhook. It depends on what the API is like for YouTube. So we've got that section. You've got join our community. That looks like a subscribe. Yes, so that's like a newsletter. That's a nice element. Then we've got the About Us 3. Different header. I like it. You could use your own color palette, so you can change this to whatever color you like. Scrolling down, so you get my drift there. I will open up a contact us page as well. So you've got contact us 1, 2 and 3. Let's open them all up, shall we? Contact us 2. Straight away one of them's got a map on it, which means we'll probably need to have an API key for Google, which isn't a problem. We've done that in other tutorials. Actually, I've got a link to one just up here. So contact us 1. I like having a map on there. It just shows, I think that's quite normal practice these days. And then we've got a form. So we've got this part of the HTML divided up into 2 sections. So we've got a form in this section, and then we've got contact information with some socials, which is great. I like that one. But then you've got a very, very different take, which is a big image on the left here and a form on the right hand side. And then we've got this one without either, and it's actually got just a header. So all depends on the template you've bought, or the templates that you've bought. Go through all of the files, take your time. This is important. This is what the finished product will look like online. Decide what you want on each of your pages. Put some thought into it. Start thinking about content as well. Start thinking about wording, paragraphs, bullet points, H1 tags, all of that kind of stuff. Start thinking about that before you start selecting the elements, because that could drive how you go forward with this project. I'm going to end the video there because we can start having a deeper dive. What's the next video? The next one, right, so the next video is all about looking at the header. So we're talking about, when I talk header, I'm talking about the navigation. So the navigation bar and all of these kind of drop downs here we'll start looking at. And also the footer. So you might have different variations of a footer in a template. So decide on the one you want, and then we'll start adding logos, socials, links, contact details to the footer and adding them as partials. So that's what we'll be doing in the next video. In the meantime, I'm going to plow through and start deciding what elements I want in the files. So when we look, scrap that, I won't. I'm going to start filming the next video on the header and footer and then bookend it. And then whilst I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with the next part of the series, I will go through and do the elements then. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been of interest. Please subscribe to my channel. Please like the video, it's always helpful. And I'll be seeing you in the next video. Thank you.